for those of you who don't know me, I'm Karen Stone. I often describe myself as a corporate refugee, and started to work in the healing area in the year 2000. And I've been studying Tibetan medicine with Dr. Nida since 2005. And it's fairly safe to say that's kind of my life's passion now. And we'll learn a little bit about Tibetan medicine as we go through this course. So, yeah. But I'd like to begin by acknowledging the traditional owners of the land on which we meet today, which for me is the Wurundjeri people of the Kulin Nation. And I pay my respects to the elders, past, present, and emerging. And yeah, just for a minute, it'd be good for you to think of the traditional owners where you are as we all meet today. Mm-hmm. And I'd like to acknowledge my dear teacher, Dr. Nida, and always offer my thanks and gratitude to him for these very precious teachings and for his constant wisdom and kindness. And I know a lot of you have studied with him as well. So it's always nice to see his smiling face, cheeky smiling face. So let's embark on this journey of exploring and dealing with emotion and stress, because the last couple of years we've all got big feelings, yeah? And, you know, as people from the West, you might well be saying, why Tibetan medicine? Why not Western medicine? And these are just some pictures from some of my journeys that would make anybody think, why Tibetan medicine? It certainly doesn't seem something that is within our norm. The gentleman up on the far left is boiling calcite to make medicine. On the far right there is a very, very great teacher, Minpa Machik, and he's a master of herbal studies. And you can see some pill making in the middle there and doctors treating. So it's certainly not something that we're used to here in the West. So when the Buddha manifested as medicine Buddha, so the historical Buddha, Shakyamuni, he gave a teaching called the Blue Beryl. And in that teaching, he identified the 84,000 afflictions and diseases that belong to sentient beings. But in that 84,000, he identified 17, which were identified as diseases and afflictions of the future. And that's definitely a lot of the things that we see now, apart from our current global pandemic. But the bloodborne diseases, the autoimmune diseases, the numerous things that are related to stress, because modern living is very stressful. And Yutok Yonten Gompo, who we know as the father of Tibetan medicine, he said it was a wise man's medicine, meaning that it's there to help anybody who is wise enough to seek it out. You don't have to be Tibetan, you don't have to be Buddhist. So, yes, the father of Tibetan medicine, he and his Yutok the younger. So we have Yutok the elder and then Yutok the younger. Basically, he reincarnated into his own line. But Yutok the younger really expanded on the Jushi and made it the text that is studied today. And one of the things that I really resonate with Tibetan medicine is that it's a very holistic, a truly holistic approach. Not holistic in the modern sense, but holistic in that we look at the person in the context of their life and their environment. So I'm not going to talk too much about Tibetan medicine, but I think it's important to have a little bit of an understanding, because over the next 6 weeks, everything we do has got a basis in Tibetan medicine. So Yutok the younger there in his... And it's very reassuring when I travel in Tibet and Kathmandu and spend time with the young doctors, and they all keep studying and they're all really passionate. They all keep finding value in this work. So Tibetan medicine and Tibetan Buddhism share the concept of our universe being created and consisting of the 5 elements. We have the first element, which is space. Space is the crucible. Without space, there is nowhere for the other elements to form. So space is essential and is always the first one. Followed by wind. Wind happens with the movement of the particles in space, because nothing is completely empty. So wind comes as the particles move within space. That movement brings the fire element because it creates friction and causes heat. The movement and heat creates condensation, which is water. And that water then blends with the particles to form earth. So there's a very logical progression of the 5 elements. And this is the world we live in. It consists of these elements, and we consist of these elements in a very, very mundane physical way and in an energetic way, our Vajra body. Out of these elements, we discover the 3 nyepas, or the types, that are the basis for all diagnosis and treatment in Tibetan medicine. So you identify as a particular nyepa, and that becomes your typology, but that's also what your physician will be looking at when they're working at your pathology. So the 3 main types, we have the wind person, lung, and their main energy, their element that is basis of everything that's happening with them is wind. Then we have fire or tripper people, the fire people, and then phlegm or bedkin, and they are this combination of earth and water. And we all have these elements. We are all a combination in degree of some of these. No one is a single element. Some people might be one thing physically and then another thing mentally. It's very common. One we look at most closely, though, and work with over these next 6 weeks is the energy of lung, or wind. Lung is the vehicle of consciousness, the force which holds and moves the mind. And see, we have our little lung ta here, our little wind horse. You'll see them on the prayer flags, the Tibetan prayer flags. And that's his job. He rides the winds to spread the blessings. So the winds are internal and external. According to the Jushi, the text, the Bedok text, lung is the beginning and end of disease because it is pervasive. And it's a close relationship with the mind. So it is associated with insomnia, chronic stress, anxiety, depression, heart palpitations, and other heart conditions, stiffness in the body, various digestive problems, among many more physical and mental ailments. Is it starting to sound familiar?
Yes.
So there are a variety of factors ranging from diet and lifestyle to season and environment that create a lung imbalance and disease. Primary psychological causes, according to Tibetan medicine, are desire, excessive thought or mental exercise, and wrong view. Again, sounding familiar. This is all sounding very contemporary, yeah? Perhaps the strongest is the psychological, primarily the increasing stress of modern lifestyles. There we are. Allopathic medicine has yet to recognise lung. Within its understanding, there is no framework in which to know how to take care of it. Treating lung in Tibetan medicine is a multidimensional process that includes lifestyle changes, medicine, external therapies, and relaxation techniques. And we'll look at some of those over the next few weeks. Some of them you can actually do yourself. Once you're aware, you know. So the general functions of the winds are inhalation and exhalation, moving the limbs, as well as responsibility for different substances within the body. But it's also responsible for all types of mental and verbal activities. So it's really the thing that's governing the immense amount of stress that's going on at the moment for everybody. This is a worldwide phenomenon. And Yeshe Dondan, the great late Tibetan physician who taught and practiced in McLeod Ganj for such a long time, said that lung was actually the pervasive energy of our time, our era on the planet. So some of the characteristics of a lung imbalance or an excess. So we often talk about imbalance or excess, or sometimes Dr. Nita uses the word chaos, which is probably apt but a little bit scary, is an inability to concentrate, the mind moving from one thing to another, being overstimulated and yet bored at the same time, being overly emotional, feeling isolated even when you're surrounded by people. So all of these things which, you know, have been in these texts and been taught for so many thousands of years, incredibly relevant to our current experience, which is why Tibetan medicine remains so relevant. All of the channels of our body are governed by this energy. And there are 72,000 channels in the body. Lung governs our emotions, and if we let it, our mind. So how do we tame this wild horse? In Tibetan medicine, we use the term to pacify excess or imbalanced lung. Nice word, pacify. And so here we have our little yogi, and I'm sorry, the picture's come out a bit blurry, but you get the picture there. And yeah, nobody actually looks like that, so don't worry. He is representing here 3 channels. We're not going to look at the 72,000 channels, but you can see the red and white channels on either side and the blue central channel. The red and white channels, the auxiliary channels, the male and female energy. The central channel is neutral. That's the enlightenment channel. We can activate this through our breath. If you can manage to breathe in the correct way long enough, you can widen this channel and be a true yogi, not an accidental yogi like us, and you can breathe your way to enlightenment. So one of the things that we can do to help this excess of stress, anxiety, and emotion is to remember the breath. It's central to everything we need. It's central to what we do. It's central to how we live. We enter the world on an in-drawn breath, and we leave the world on an out-drawn breath. Our bodies can survive for quite a few days without water, even a bit longer for food, but our cells can only survive a few seconds without oxygen. Breath is really, really important. So the first thing we're going to practice now that I'm going to teach you is something called 9-round breathing. And this is something you can do before you meditate, when you wake up in the morning. If you're feeling stressed and anxious, you can go and hide in the toilet cubicle at work if you need to.
Breathing labour, it leaked. I mean, you were in.
Can do this if you can't sleep at night. Sit up and practice this. So, we're going to go back one. This is an alternating nostril breath. Now, there are visualizations that go with it. Tonight, we're just going to learn the technique. Next week, we'll add the visualizations. But this is quite a cute way to think about when we're doing the out breath, that you're expelling a lot of negativity and darkness, all the things that you don't want inside. So to go back to our yogi, you don't have to sit like that, but you are going to be concentrating on the 2 channels and the central channel, yeah? So first thing you're going to do is hold your ring finger. So of those 72,000 channels, 2 of them exit this body and they will take your La energy with them. So we're protecting our vital life force energy from accidentally being expelled. So put your thumb over your ring fingers to protect this larger energy. Yeah. And then you're going to start by blocking the left nostril. Now, some of you have learned this before, but it's always good to be reminded. So blocking the left nostril, just watch me this time and then we'll do it all together. And then raising the other hand up, breathing in. You're going to hold it. And then you bring this one up, block this nostril, and then breathe out. So by doing this, we've breathed in through one channel and expelled through the other. Yeah. So now we're going to reverse that, breathing in. Hold. And then bring that one out. And breathe out. Then we drop the other hand and we do 2 together. So now we'll be working on the central channel. So breathing in. And you're holding and then release. So this is called 9-round breathing because we repeat that 3 times. So moving on to the smoke breathing yogi. As you're breathing out, this is one of the visualizations that you're breathing out negativity, pollution, literally anything that you don't want dark in your body. You visualize this leaving. Bad thoughts, bad emotions, bad feelings, excessive anger, hatred, any of those things, breathe them out. So next week we'll add a different visualization as well. It's important just to get the postures down right. It can be a little bit confusing at first. So Vajra finger closed. So we're going to do it together now 3 times. So starting out, closing the left nostril, breathing in, hold, raise that hand up. So close that and breathing out. Breathing in and hold. Raise that up. Breathe out. So visualizing those smoke clouds leaving your body. Now breathing in. And breathe out. Breathing in and out through the nose for this one too. So again, left hand to left nostril, breathing in. Breathe out. Breathe in. Breathing out. And together. And last round. So you'll receive a recording of this. I really recommend that you practice this if you haven't done it before. It takes a little while to get the rhythm going, and don't worry, everyone makes mistakes. I find if I go too slowly, I forget what I'm doing. So this is a really valuable yogic exercise. It's good to do it again anyway.
Thank you.
So left finger to left nostril. Don't forget your Vajra finger is protected. Protect your energy. So breathing in. Okay. Everyone got that? Any questions about that one?
No, that's great.
Everyone else okay with that?
Yep, all good, thank you.
Yes.
Like I say, if you've not come across it before, watch the video and practice the backwards and forwards, because everyone gets confused. But Dr. Nita would tell you he had to he had to wait a long time before his teachers would give him this breathing. It is around on the internet and stuff like that. But to me, it's always important to honour the lineage. And it's like most things, seemingly simple, easy to learn and hard to master, but a really beneficial thing to do. And as I say, very helpful. Anytime you're feeling stressed, you can go and do this. Anytime you can't focus, feeling, detached from everything, can't sleep, overwhelmed, always good to return to the breath. It's an excellent thing to do before meditation because you're clearing out any negative energies from your body before you start to sit. Sometimes, however, life being what it is, even that simple, I'm saying simple, 9-round breath seems too hard. And the best thing you can do then, and this happens to all of us at some time, is what I call hand on heart breathing, yeah? So you're going to put your hand, give yourself a little rub on the heart. You deserve it. Warm up that heart area. And then you're just going to breathe. Now, one good thing about putting your hand on your heart is it's reminding you to breathe a little bit deeper than here, because normally we'll walk around and we shallow breathe all day, okay? So if you want to, you can put your other hand, you can't see me, but you can put your other hand on your diaphragm, okay? I'll answer that one later, Galia. We'll do the rest of the questions at the end. So hand on heart, and if you want to, the other hand on the diaphragm, yeah? And that's reminding you to take your breath right down there if you can. Try and breathe like a baby. You know how their tummies go up and down? But the hand on the heart, connect yourself to your heart. Give yourself a little bit of gratitude. You just got through those few minutes, whatever they were. And then focusing on the breath, you're going to count each breath until you get to 21. If you miscount, you start again. So let's try that. You're going to breathe in, count each breath until we get to 21, and then we start again. If you get to 3 and you forget what number you're at, you start again. And I've had days where I don't get past 3, don't worry. So just take a minute, hand on heart. Give your body some love, it deserves it. Okay, who made it to 21? Harder than you think sometimes, but it's a very simple technique you can use anywhere. And if 21 is too daunting, and we've all had those days, make it 10, make it 9, it doesn't matter. It's about connecting yourself to your breath, because the number one tool for calming us down and making us have a bit of perspective is actually the breath. And it's with us all the time. And we have as many breaths in this life as we have heartbeats. It's really cool.
What was that?
We have the same number of breaths as we have heartbeats over our life. So the guru says. So yes, Galia, you can hold the arm horizontally, no problem at all. But if that's too difficult, the main thing is the closing of the nostrils, making sure that you really breathe in and breathe out, and then the visualization. Yeah, so yes, in a perfect world, we all look like the little yogi, except that we don't. But yes, if you have to sweep the air in that way, that's quite okay. Yeah. And next week I'll talk more about posture and putting the arms down like that. I'll actually have a picture of a human sitting like that. Hard to believe, I know. Anyway, so yes, back to our smoking yoga. Over the week, we've got 6 topics and they'll all interweave. Some we'll add to every week, some we'll return to. Today we're looking at the mind. Next week we're going to look at mantra, and then meditation, massage, self-massage, and some things you can do for yourself, movement, which will incorporate the Nejang, Tibetan healing yoga, and medicine. Now by medicine, I'm not going to be sending you off to buy medicines. We're going to be talking about some things that you can do with things you can buy at the supermarket that will help with pacifying all those big feelings. It's interesting, the body has the same response to excitement as it does to distress. So stress and distress, different things, the body doesn't recognize the difference. So the levels of stress on your body, for example, with say Christmas and a wedding, are exactly the same with moving house or a divorce. So we need to keep these winds pacified and running smoothly and peacefully through the body. It's a challenge sometimes. Let's go back there. So one of the things that Dr. Nita wanted me to talk to you all about, especially when we're talking about the mind, is thoughts. And we are all of us still, I'm sure, after the last 2 years, we have a Mount Kailash of thoughts running around in our heads all the time. The thing about thinking is that it very rarely, unless we're actually an engineer or somebody with a practical application, doesn't solve anything. We just make ourselves more and more crazy. So we are going to be working with, over the 6 weeks, Dr. Nita's book, Weapon of Light. And I'll be reading you some quotes from it each week, and they'll be visible in the thing. So if you don't have the book, that's fine. But I do recommend getting it. I personally find it wonderful. I read from it every day. This is Hatha Yoga. Or Dzogchen, and I'm certainly not teaching you Hatha Yoga or Dzogchen, but some of the things in here we can apply to our own lives and our own ways of dealing with our emotions and our way of being in the world. And we can extract those things. And when the opportunity arrives, if this is something you think will work for you, then get the teachings, receive the teachings from a qualified master. Very important. Hatha Yoga and Dzogchen, you can buy books, but it's not really something you should read from a book and delve into on your own. You do need a teacher, you need a guide. So having said that, these next 2 screens are from Dr. Nita's beautiful book. And I just think they're very pertinent to what we've all been going through. And I think one of the things we can do to help ourselves is to find writings or, these days, YouTube, TED Talks, whatever works for you. Connect with some things that actually lift you and make you feel that it'll be okay, it's manageable, inspire you, warm your heart, lift your spirits, and surround yourself with these things. It's easier now than ever. We're all scrolling all the time through the phone and the computer, but we can be more discretionary about what we're putting in. We can be more discretionary about what we're exposing ourselves to and what we're giving our time and energy to. What we're getting back from some of this stuff is just more stress. Facebook, can you hear me? So, when your mind becomes wild and gets all agitated by thoughts, when it is filled with rough, afflictive emotions and abounds with thoughts which are impossible to stop in any way, just let them be free. Let them go as they please and watch their nature. So we can't stop thinking. It's what we do, but we don't have to driven by our thoughts. We can observe them. You can have a thought about them if you want to, but it's not necessary. You don't have to judge yourself about everything, but just let them go. You can look at their nature. Okay, I had that thought. I had that happy thought. I had that stressful thought. I had that angry thought. I did, and now it's gone. Because is the thought still there? No. Was it ever there? Even if you don't let thoughts go, they go anyway. Even if you don't hold on to them, they cling to you anyway. Even if you don't incite them, they move around and are agitated anyway. Whatever they do, look directly at the essence and just leave them as they are. So the thoughts are coming, they're coming, they're going to hang around. We all know those 3 a.m. thoughts, they hang around, don't they? And you can, I'm not going to think about that today, and then, you know, the earworm. But when you look at it, when you look at something that's really troubling you, that your mind is on that hamster wheel, when you look at it and look at it and look at it, what is it really? This is its power. Yeah, you can say to me, all right, let's think about a global pandemic. I can think about it and think about it, lose its power. Of course, it doesn't lose its power. It's a thing in the world that everybody is having to deal with. But what it can lose is its power over you, perhaps, so that you can go, okay, I can create some distance here. My worrying about this isn't going to change it. My being calmer may change the world for the people around me. And then we will be a bit calmer and it'll spread out. So, you know, small steps, small steps. So we don't go into this thinking we're going to change the world. We're going in this thinking that we're going to be a calmer, happier person, despite what's going on in the world. Because the thoughts come and go. They're not there. So you'll see this in the recording, and these were 2 of my favourites out of the whole book. I read them quite a lot myself, and they do seem to help. So I'll just flip back to the other one for a minute. It's a bit like what Marcus Aurelius says, the Stoic. You're not obliged to have an opinion on things, and neither are you obliged to hold on to your thoughts. And we know this. If we try and hang on to them, they disappear because, you know, we forget things. So, does anybody have any questions?
No.
No? We're all good students. Does anybody need to see the 9-round breathing again?
Just a question, Karen.
Yeah.
Medicine Buddha had 84,000. Didn't the Buddha have 74,000?
84,000 diseases and afflictions pertaining to sentient beings, mostly humans. So that breaks down into the 3 nyepas when you work it out, and then these additional ones, so the diseases of the future. 72,000 channels in the body.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought Buddha had 74,000, not Medicine Buddha. 74,000 afflictions and 74,000 remedies.
I think that's Dharma. This is medicine. Yeah.
That's what I wanted to check.
Yeah. So it's a slightly different. And Buddhists love lists. You know, Buddhism is full of lists. They can put a number on something, they will. So if there's no questions, I hope this has been helpful. Each week they'll become a little bit more as we add things. So we will revisit the 9-round breathing again next week. And next week we will be doing mantra, which is one of my very favourite things to do. So mantra means to protect the mind. So it's really one of our best friends when we need some help. And yeah, thank you all for joining us. I'm just going to share one last little thing with you. Let your mind rest. Give it a break. You know, don't judge yourself. Don't worry if you have to put things down for a while. You know, we're all juggling. If we put those balls on the ground, somebody else will pick them up. It's fine. So, you know, be at peace with yourself because you're all doing your best. There is no need to beat yourself up for anything. I do adore these little Buddha doodles. You see them all over social media, and she's very clever. So if you have any questions during the week, feel free to contact me through the email or wherever. And I hope you've had some benefit.
Yes.
And many, many blessings to you all. And I will see you next week and send you the recording in the meantime. Okay.